All right, welcome everybody to Dr. Rock's ranking of 60 bands from the 60s to the 80s. As an entertainer, DJ, I get a lot of people always ask me, oh, what's your favorite band or who do you listen to? So I'm going to put a list together here with 60 bands that I just grabbed randomly that I could find logos for. And I'm going to go in alphabetical order and I'm going to explain why I'm not a fan, or I think they're legends, or they're really good or okay. Obviously, this is my list. Obviously, you probably will have different opinion on some of these bands that I do, hence the reason why music is great, because you can like a band and I don't have to like a band, but we can still be friends. So we're going to start off, first band on the list, AC/DC. Now, I honestly have to say that they are really good. I know they've been around forever, but they haven't put out a lot of great stuff since the mid 80s, 91 actually, I think, with the Razor's Edge, Thunderstruck, Money Talks. That was about the extent of their time. Now, Bon Scott, of course, a legend. Everything up to Back in Black, I mean, that was just raw and dirty. Of course, Back in Black, one of the greatest albums of all time, but I'm going to have to put them in that really good category just because I like AC/DC. I just don't consider them the legends, even though I'm sure some of you probably do. Next band on the list, Aerosmith. I'm also going to put those guys in the really good category. Now, don't get me wrong, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, the rest of the band, absolutely amazing musicians. The stuff they did was awesome. You know what? I am going to change that. We're going to put Aerosmith in the legends because, to be honest with you, the stories of what they've done and what they've been through, and they're still putting out music, even though Steven Tyler is goofy. They still made great music. One of their albums, Honkin' on Bobo, great blues album they did in the 2000s. So I'll have to put them in that legends category. All right, next one up is the Allman Brothers Band. Allman Brothers Band, I'm going to put them in the really good. Unfortunately, they weren't around long enough to really make, well, they did make a huge impact on the music, but I don't think they were around long enough to really. I would have loved to have seen what they could have done if Duane Allman and Dickie Betts wouldn't have had their parting of the ways, or Greg Allman, it was Duane Allman, yeah. I think they would be definitely in that legend stage if they had been able to put more albums out. Next one up, Anthrax. Obviously, growing up as an 80s guy, loved the thrash metal from the 80s, but there was only a few of their albums I actually really liked. That would be, of course, Among the Living, Fistful of Metal, Armed and Dangerous, Persistence of Time was okay, and of course the I Am the Man thing with the whole rap metal thing. And then when they did the thing with Public Enemy, I thought it was cool, but they're a great thrash metal band, but I've seen them live, give or take. I like them, just not enough to put them in the really good or the legend stage. Next one on the list, Bad Company. Not really familiar with Bad Company's music other than, of course, what I would play as a DJ or what's been on the radio. Obviously, Paul Rodgers, one of the great voices of rock and roll. Just one of those bands that I just don't really know a whole lot about, so I'm going to have to just put them in that really good for what I know of them. That's about all I could say there. Black Sabbath, well, that's a no-brainer there. We're actually going to put them ahead of Aerosmith. Black Sabbath, I mean, what else do you have to say? They're Black Sabbath, okay? Their first half a dozen albums were just ridiculous. So Black Sabbath, by far legends. Pretty much don't have. The only regret I have is not being able to see Black Sabbath or Ozzy live. But hey, it is what it is. I did get a chance to see Aerosmith, and I've seen Anthrax. I have not seen Bad Company, Allman Brothers, or AC/DC live. Next one, Blondie. I hate to say this, but I'm going to put Blondie in the not a fan. Wasn't a big fan of the new wave punk scene that was coming out around that time. Just not a big fan of Blondie. I know I'll probably get some criticism for that, but not a fan. Sorry. Blue Oyster Cult, they're okay. Obviously, everybody knows them for the Cowbell song. Don't really know much about Blue Oyster Cult other than a handful of songs, so I'm going to put them in the okay category. Next one on the list, Bon Jovi. You know, I'm debating between putting them between the legends and the really good. I mean, they are still making music. Now, granted, I'm going to put them in the really good for right now. Bon Jovi, obviously, is one of the smartest bands in the world because, of course, they started off hair metal. When their crowd got older, of course, then they went more to the adult contemporary music because that's what their fans were the ages of. And then when they fans got older, they started playing country music because that was the age group that they were listening to. Now they kind of went back to some rock and roll, pop rock stuff. Obviously, Slippery When Wet, New Jersey, I mean, 78 Degrees Fahrenheit, I mean, great albums. I mean, but I'm going to debate on that one and whether they're going to go in legends. Now, Boston, obviously Boston, very small category of music, but if you've ever owned the original Boston album on vinyl and had a great sound system and played it through that, that's why they're in the legends category. That first album, the mastering of that album was unmatched by anything at the time. Obviously, all 8 songs on that first album, ridiculous, great songs. Another band, I hate to do this to them, but CCR, you know what, they're really good. Once again, only together 4.5 years. What could have been, now granted, I know they had 36 singles in their 4.5 year. I mean, pretty much everything they did was a hit. But I don't think enough length in their career to put them on that legend stage. Now, I could be moving them, but we'll see for now. Cheap Trick, not a fan. After seeing them live this last summer, not a fan of Cheap Trick anymore. Don't get me wrong, Dream Police, absolutely killer album. Love the album, but not a fan of Cheap Trick anymore. They were awful live, awful. Deep Purple, gonna put them in that really good category. They got some great songs. One of my go-tos is the Burn album. Love that album. So they're in the really good category. Def Leppard, same thing. To be honest with you, after Hysteria, they pretty much fell down. Was not a big fan of anything they did after, to be honest with you, after Pyromania. Hysteria was way too clean. Mutt Lange ruined them. Granted, 7 singles off of that album. Yeah, so we're going to leave them there. Ronnie James Dio, that's an absolute no-brainer there. He is a legend in heavy metal, rock and roll. I've seen Ronnie James Dio 4 times live, and all 4 times the concert was absolutely amazing. Holy Diver, Last in Line, Sacred Heart, 3 tremendous, tremendous albums. If you've never heard those 3 albums, you need to take a listen to those. Dire Straits, I'm going to put them in the really good category. Unfortunately, I don't think that Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits gets enough credit for how talented that group is, but I think they could be in the legend stage, but I don't think enough people know of them other than Money for Nothing, Sultans of Swing, and Walk of Life. They have a great catalog of music, so check them out. Fleetwood Mac, you know what? I'm gonna get some flack for this. I'm gonna put them in the good category. To be honest with you, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, Tusk, really great albums. if you know prior Fleetwood Mac stuff, well, Mick Fleetwood was running the show without Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks. Completely different sound. One of those bands I can listen to them. They're kind of a give and take for me. So I'm going to put them in the good category. Foreigner, we're going to go good on them as well. Yeah, they have some good hits. Obviously, they're arena rock. So Genesis, I'm going to put them in the okay category because, to be honest with you, not a big fan of the early Genesis stuff. I actually like the band more after Peter Gabriel left. Phil Collins, I think he's amazing. So, and as you can tell, these are all bands. I'll do another category with solo artists, that have just, Bruce Springsteen, Prince, those kind of things, Tom Petty, later on. Guns N' Roses, they're going to go in the really good category because if you ask anybody who's a music fan, Appetite for Destruction, unbelievable album. Oh my God, changed my life when I heard Welcome to the Jungle. Lies, Use Your Illusion, Spaghetti Incident, Chinese Democracy, they were fair, but I mean, obviously you play Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, or Paradise City, everybody knows those three songs. There are other great songs on Appetite, obviously My Michelle and Mr. Brownstone, yeah. Grand Funk Railroad, I'm going to put them in the good category. I've seen them live just recently. They were amazing for the age of the group. They were amazing. Enjoyed them very much. Don't know enough about them other than what I know of radio and stuff I play at DJs. So Grand Funk in the good category. Grateful Dead, to be honest with you, I'm going to put them in the not a fan category. I don't get the music. Probably because I don't do enough LSD. Actually, I don't do LSD at all, but I don't do mind-altering drugs enough to really get into them. Obviously, I know songs of theirs, but just not a big fan. Hall & Oates, I'm going to put them in the good category simply because I don't know enough about their music to put them in the really good or legends. Now, I know they've been around. I know Daryl Hall by far has one of the most soulful voices in music. Him and John Oates were a great duo, wrote great songs, but they're going to be in the good category for me. Heart, we're going to put them right up there in the legends. Heart, wow, yeah. Ann and Nancy Wilson. I mean, come on. They are amazing. The songs, obviously their hairband era stuff they came out with threw them back on the charts, and they were everywhere. Obviously Dreamboat Annie, all those early albums, a must listen for people who like blues rock. Heart, by far legends in the rock game. Huey Lewis and the News, I'm going to put them in the really good category because unfortunately, I don't think enough people give Huey Lewis and News enough credit. I have Sports and I have 4 on vinyl, and man, listening back on that stuff, great harmonies, great music, they're tight as a band, unbelievable. Love Huey Lewis and the News. Iron Maiden, I hate to do this to one of the grandfathers of the new wave of British heavy metal, but I think they're good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're legends. If I had to choose, I wouldn't listen to them every day. Once in a great while, I do have Live After Death on vinyl. I have Killers on vinyl, and I think I have Power Slave on vinyl. Every once in a while, I'll throw it on, but to be honest with you, I get bored with it really fast. Other than I love Steve Harris. He's a great bass player. Of course, Bruce Dickinson, amazing voice. Journey. Wow, this is going to be a hard one because a lot of people cut on Journey But man, if you go back and you really listen to some of their music, wow, Journey was killing it in the arena rock era. Lights, Love and Touch and Squeezing, obviously Don't Stop Believin'. There's so many hits that they had that you can't even name them all. Journey in the really good. I don't think they're legends, just because they don't get spoken about enough in the same terms as Black Sabbath, Aerosmith, Boston, those kind of bands. Judas Priest, to be honest with you, I'm going to put them in the okay. Now, I know a few of you are going to be like, are you kidding me? Don't really actually care for them. Yeah, Living After Midnight and Turbo Lover and You Got Another Thing Coming, all those things. I guess I'm not really a big fan of the new wave of British heavy metal, so that's me. Kiss. Well, I hate to do this to Kiss fans, but to be honest with you, I've seen Kiss twice. Not a big fan of Kiss. Used to love Kiss like you wouldn't believe when I was younger, but not really a big fan anymore. So I'm going to put them in the good category just because, yeah, some older stuff is really good, but they really haven't been anything since they took their makeup off, and I'm going to be the first one to say it. They're not as good as they think they are. Led Zeppelin, wow, we're going to put them right there next to Black Sabbath because, I mean, come on, it's Zeppelin. Zeppelin, there's nothing else to say. You put on a Zeppelin album for anybody and you can automatically tell it's Led Zeppelin. Great sound, of course, Robert Plant's voice, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, of course, Bonzo on drums. Yeah, that's a legend band right there. Loverboy, I've seen Loverboy twice live back in the 80s. They were good. Very cookie cutter rock and roll. Nothing absolutely special about them. They were radio rock 100%. Yeah, just going to leave it right there. They're good. Leonard Skinner, they're going right there next to Sabbath and Zeppelin. I mean, what else can you say? It's Leonard Skinner, man. That is one of the all-time great bands. Tragedy, of course, took that band away too soon. I always tell people I wonder where music would be today if bands like Leonard Skinner would have been able to continue on. Megadeth, I'm going to put them in the okay category. Don't get me wrong, obviously I'm a heavy metal guy from the 80s. Like Megadeth's music, but I only like certain Megadeth music. I can't listen to Dave Mustaine sing. His voice irritates me. But I do like a few of their albums front to back. Just, they're okay to me. Of course, Metallica, I'm going to put them up here in the legends just because they are Metallica. Obviously, I have a Metallica tattoo. Yeah, their middle era there, after the Black Album, up into they did the, I want to say probably Death Magnetic, that whole era, Saint Anger, Fuel, or Load, Reload. That was just an awful time for them. Saint Anger and Hardwired, great hard metal albums there. Obviously, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice, great albums there too. Motley Crue, I used to be a gigantic fan of Motley Crue. I'm going to put them in the okay now because, well, Vince Neil is an ass. I'd probably get demonetized or knocked off for that, but he's an ass. I've seen him solo. I've seen him with Motley Crue. He's terrible. He can't sing. Actually, he couldn't sing back then either. Tommy Lee, obviously a killer drummer. Nikki Sixx, great bass player. Mick Mars is a good guitar player. But maybe a handful of their songs have held the test of time, but it's Motley Crue. Motorhead, I'm going to put them down here. Not a fan of Motorhead. Don't get me wrong, Lemmy Kilmister is a legend beyond within the rock world. Rest in peace, Lemmy. But never got into him. I was listening to other stuff at the time, and I just didn't have enough time to listen to him. So Motorhead, not a fan. Obviously, I know Ace of Spades because that's Ace of Spades. Nazareth. To be honest with you, I don't know enough about Nazareth other than Love Hurts and whatever their other big single was. So I'm just going to put them in the okay. Just don't know enough about them. Night Ranger, I'm going to put them in the good category. I did just see Night Ranger last summer at Moondance in Walker, Minnesota, and they absolutely blew me away. They were by far the best band there that night, but I don't know enough of their music besides what I know from the radio and being a DJ. So I'm going to put them in the good category. That may change someday if I listen to more of them. Pantera, holy buckets. Got to put them in that Legends tier. Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display, Far Beyond Driven. Please, if I'm in a bad mood, I throw on my Pantera album, and that just gets the adrenaline pumping. Dimebag Darrell, great guitar player. Vinny, both of you, rest in peace, Vinny. Of course, Rex Brown on bass, and Phil, the jerk singer. If they could have got their stuff together and reformed, I think Pantera would have been unbelievably blowing lids off of everything. Unfortunately, they'll no longer be able. Well, they're talking about doing it with Zakk Wylde on guitar, but it's just not the same without Dimebag. Pink Floyd, I'm going to get a lot of crap for this. Not a fan. Sorry, not a fan of Pink Floyd. One of those things like Grateful Dead, I don't get the music. I'm not into the story long album stuff. I don't get into the stuff like that, so I'm just going to leave it there. Not a fan of Pink Floyd. Sorry for my fans, friends that like Pink Floyd. Poison, I'm going to put them in the good category. I saw them with Motley Crue and the New York Dolls many years, probably 10 years ago. Poison was by far the best band there, but they're Poison. I mean, they're Poison. Queen. Well, you know where that one's going. Queen, Legends. Freddie Mercury, greatest frontman of all time. The stuff they did, they are by far the quintessential do what we want, record what we want, write what we want. Of course, Queen at Live Aid, come on, doesn't get any better than that. Rainbow. You know, honestly, I don't know enough about Rainbow other than Ronnie James Dio sang in it, Man on the Silver Mountain. But other than that, I'm just going to put them in the okay category because I don't know enough about Rainbow. Been listening to this band a lot on the Sirius XM channel 105. Now they have Red Hot Chili Peppers. They are legends, man. They've been around 30 years. Funk rock, playing it still. I think they're one of the greatest bands of all time. We can argue that point all day long, but you know what? They keep putting out albums and people keep buying them because there are loyal Red Hot Chili Pepper fans, and I am one of them. REO Speedwagon, I am going to put them in not a fan. I do not like Kevin Cronin's voice. Now, obviously, Riding the Storm Out, you know, there's some great tunes. If anybody else would be singing with that band, I would have probably been a big fan of theirs. Do not like REO Speedwagon. I'm going to get some flack for this one too. Rolling Stones. I'm going to put them not a fan. My dad was a huge Rolling Stones fan when I grew up. I don't care for them. I couple of songs. They got a few good songs that I really, really like. Obviously, Sympathy for the Devil, Paint It Black, you know, yeah, but Rush, you know, gonna have to put Rush in the Legends. I mean, as much as I don't care for, yeah, they are. I mean, Neil Peart, I mean, he's the greatest drummer of all time. For rock. For rock. Yeah, it's Rush. That's pretty much all I have to say. Scorpions. We're going to put them in the really good. Um, they obviously have some great rockin' songs from the 70s and 80s, but they really didn't do a whole lot once that grunge era hit. And they're still trying to hold on to playing live. And I've seen Klaus Meine do a live show. It's not good anymore. But they are really good. Obviously, Rock You Like a Hurricane comes on and everybody gets absolutely, batshit crazy. Skid Row. I hate to say this. I was a big fan of Skid Row. And now that I listen to them, yeah, they're good. Obviously, that first album, second album, Slave to the Grind, heavy as balls, Slave to the Grind. But it's hard to replace. I mean, as much as Sebastian Bach is kind of a whiny kid, it's hard to replace that guy's attitude and that guy's voice in a band. He is Skid Row. So, but anyway, Styx. I'm gonna put Styx in the good category. I've seen Styx live. They're good. What else do you have to say? They have some good songs. They have some really bad songs. They're good. Here's another one I'm going to get a lot of flack for. The Beatles. They're okay. They're okay. You know what? I'm going to move the Stones up to they're okay too. I should take that one and put it in the okay. Beatles, they're okay. Not my era. Obviously 60s, early 70s. Well, actually 70 was when they broke up. 70, 71. Somewhere in that area. I wasn't even barely born yet, so I really don't know them. So, yeah, they're good. I mean, they're okay. The Cars, they're good. I don't really care for them, but they're good. I mean, Drive, great song. Yeah. Another one I'm going to get some crap for, The Doors. Not a fan. I don't think Jim Morrison's as great as everybody says he is. But then again, way before my era. So don't play it, don't even own it. So the Eagles, well, they're gonna go right up here next to Zeppelin. One of my all-time favorite bands. I have all of their vinyl albums and I listen to them all the time. I think they're absolutely great songwriters. Their harmonies are unbelievable. Never got to see them live, even though I did see Don Felder, who was one of the original guitar players. I saw him perform Eagles songs and yeah, loved it. Love the Eagles. Did get a chance to stand on the corner of Winslow, Arizona, and it was awesome for me. The Who, they're good. Don't really have much to say about them. Don't know enough. Van Halen, here we go. They are going right up there with the Eagles as they are legends. Absolutely legends. Those first handful of albums, Atomic Punk, I mean, they were like nobody else out there. Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen, unbelievable. Michael Anthony's backing vocals are tremendous. Obviously, David Lee Roth, top 5 all-time frontman. And then, of course, when they added Sammy Hagar, who's one of my favorite solo guys, I liked him even more. 5150 OU 812, Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge. Yeah. Van Halen, legends. This one's going to get some people because they'll be like, who in the hell is that? The Violent Femmes. Now, you obviously know one or two songs by them. Obviously, Blister in the Sun, because it's played every time there's a wedding. But, man, if you really listen to their stuff, they have some amazing albums out there. The Blind Leading the Naked, Hallowed Ground, their self-titled album, 3. I mean, their early catalog of stuff is awesome. Take a listen to Violent Femmes. I put them in the really good category. Warrant, I'm going to put them in the good category. Rest in peace, Janie Lane. Did actually get a chance to see Warrant back in the day and also saw Warrant at a casino. Janie Lane still had it. Unfortunately, he passed away. And, that Cherry Pie album, obviously Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich. Great 2 albums there. They were the epicenter, if you want to call it, of the 80s hair for me at the time. I loved, my Warrants and all that stuff. Motley Crues and Twisted Sisters and stuff like that. So Warrant, they're in the good group just because I never really listened to them much after the Cherry Pie album. Whitesnake, we're going to put them in the good category as well because obviously everybody knows them for one album, the 1987 self-titled album with Crying in the Rain, Here I Go Again. But if you listen to their early catalog, they were blues rock, and anything after that album, it was okay. They're good. They're good. I mean, that 87 album is unbelievable. And the last band on my list of the 60 artists is ZZ Top. Now, this band I am going to put up here in the Legends category because not only were they around for 50 years, but they never changed band members in 50 years. Their songs are going to go down in history as some of the greatest songs, LaGrange and Legs and Sharp Dressed Man, and I mean, you can just go on and on and on about all their early album stuff. You know, once they got into the Eliminator and their 80s MTV era, they got way too commercial, but that early stuff they did was amazing. So anyway, that's my top 60 bands from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Leave a comment and let me know what you think.